Health and Fitness with David Hollywood with the all-new Midlands Park Health and Fitness Club, midlandsparkhotel.com. Midlands 103.
Hello and thank you for joining us, and thank you to Cameron Clark for covering health and fitness last week. Let's have a look at what we've got in store on this evening's programme. We're about to be joined by the Midlands' newest national champion. Oisin Lane is from a big race walking family. He's from the Mullingar Harriers and he's now the 10,000 metre race walk national champion. You'll hear from him very shortly. After that, it's been the work of over a decade. Teamwork, determination, all driven by personal and community dedication. The Sean Wyer Memorial Pitch is set to open at Ballinamere GAA. Their club secretary Carina Carroll tells us about the celebrations that are about to ensue in Offaly. Wheelchair hurling is coming to Kilbeggan. You'll hear from a wheelchair hurling all-star a little later. And we'll be joined by Offaly Association Dublin, who are running their annual golf classic to raise funds for Offaly GAA once again. Now, it seems like an annual tradition that the National Senior Track and Field Championships are cursed with bad weather, and once again that played out in Santry over the course of last weekend. However, there were some very good silver linings and even a gold lining when it came to the Mullingar Harriers from the championships. Oisin Lane for the Mullingar Harriers picked up gold and was crowned national champion in the men's 10,000 metre race walk. He joins us to look back over the contest and maybe look forward to the future. Oisin, thanks very much for taking our call.
No worries. Nice to meet you. Nice to talk to you.
So, the championships themselves, the race itself, you ended up winning by a fair margin. I know that race walking is never straightforward, regardless of what the distance might be at the end that you win by. How did the race go from your perspective?
The race went pretty well. I have to say. I mean, obviously, anytime you win a race, it's a good result. But no, I suppose I was happy enough at the time, given the conditions. Like before the race, I would have had the plan to try and get the national on 23 record, which is held by Rob Heffernan, which is 40.16, and I ended up 9 seconds off that. But I mean, like the conditions on the day were absolutely terrible. Like it was the track was almost flooded, so it's kind of hard to get a good pace going when the track is flooded. But I was able to. I got a decent enough time in the end, and obviously beat everyone quite comfortably in the end. So I'm happy enough with it overall.
Considering the conditions, then you must know that you ultimately had that time in your legs, and it's a really good marker to get an idea of where you are at in your trajectory in your career.
Yeah, I suppose it's a nice kind of confirmation that I'm still a good and talented and maybe international class athlete. Because I suppose for myself, training's been awkward this year. I had a couple of illnesses that in kind of February, March, April, which kind of held back my year a little bit. And it was kind of nice, like national seniors would have been my last big race. It was kind of nice to have a big race where I got a good time so I can prove to myself that, yeah, I am a top class athlete and I'll be able to hopefully compete with the best boys internationally as well as nationally going into the future and even next year. So, yeah.
I know that you were out early on the first day of the championships, but based on what you saw probably after your race and beyond, had you experienced anything like that at a nationals before? It seems like the mood around Irish track and field particularly has never been better.
No, I've never experienced anything like it. I think even myself, I was on the first race and I fully expected there to be nobody there. Like 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, with like Longitude, Taylor Swift, the GAA going on, terrible weather. I didn't think anybody'd be there, and the stand was nearly packed during my own race, so I was shocked really. And then obviously it got busier and busier as the 2 days went along. So yeah, it was great to see. Like I even had a couple of kids ask me for autographs, and I'm nowhere near the biggest fish in that pond. You obviously had European medalists, gold and silver medalists at that. So yeah, no, it's great to see, and I think it's just all off the back of the European champs, which obviously got great attention for the sport, which I hope and I think we will be able to build on. So. Yeah,
I mean that's the thing, isn't it? Like if we get this kick off the Europeans, then considering with the Olympics to come for a lot of those athletes who are successful and the age profile of a lot of the people in question, just like yourself, for the future seasons, it's really exciting.
Oh yeah, no, especially since like there's so many young athletes coming through as well. Like I think it's becoming very regular now that at these underage championships we come back with a couple of medals, a couple of gold medals, which like wouldn't have been the norm in the past. Like even this is a couple of years back now, but in 2021, I was on a European junior team which got 4 gold medals, whereas in the past, like a single medal might have been a great result. So no, I think Ireland's an up and coming country in athletics, and I think the success we have now, I think we're only going to build on it as the age profile of athletes improves. So
yeah, it's fascinating and really exciting as well. And I suppose you mentioned Rob Heffernan there, our Olympic medalist, world champion. You have probably very specific experience of knowing that if someone has come before you that can set an example and a standard for a race time for you to chase and for achievements for you to try emulate or surpass, like that's huge for athletics. It's huge for individual athletes because targets are a huge part of how you train and how you build and the psychological side of things.
Yeah, so I suppose it is good to have like high targets and good times to aim for. But I think as well, even when you're talking about like championships, like I think Team Ireland, the mixed relay team, they got their gold on the first night. I think Ireland was the first team to actually medal or get a gold medal at those championships. And I remember like the next morning, like the entire team was ridiculously energized. And I've just found myself as well, like you find yourself being fired up when you see other Irish athletes doing well. So yeah, I suppose like the saying is success breeds success, and that is very true. I think it's easy to be successful yourself when those around you and those in your own sport are doing well as well. So
you've graduated from the underage kind of grades, as it were, into the senior international competitions, the Europeans recently, and obviously racing in the national championships last weekend and being crowned national champion. How have you found that transition, and how do you review that aspect of your season?
I think probably the transition to underage to senior athlete is probably the hardest transition you're going to make. You can make as an athlete, because I suppose when you're underage, you kind of get used to being, the best in your individual age group or, a couple of age groups. Whereas when you go to senior, you're competing against athletes who are dedicated, who are obviously a lot older than you, have a lot more years of training their legs, and who also, in some cases, are able to go at athletics full time. In some cases, you're up against professionals. So it's a very hard transition to make. And I think I obviously haven't gotten any, besides the national seniors, I haven't won any international medals or haven't even gotten near any international medals. But the times I've put up this year, I suppose there are times which will be competitive internationally. And I suppose it's a big relief to see, because, for myself, it hasn't even been, it's a process that's not even done. I wouldn't even fully regard myself as a full senior yet, but it's, I kind of left juniors 3 years ago. So it's a long process. But it's still ongoing. But I think this year, I finally be able to say I'm most of the way there to, being a top class athlete. So it's hard, but you just have to stick at it and the rewards will come in the end.
It's hard, I think, could be a motto for just about everything that race walkers do. It's
absolutely, yeah.
It's an amazing sport in so many ways. How did you get into it yourself, Oisin?
I suppose, unfortunately, I have a slightly less interesting story than most other race walkers. My dad, Michael Lane, is the national event coordinator. So once I showed any bit of talent in cross country, I was kind of roped into race walking. And I suppose I think the first 3 races I ever did, I won all of them. So, success breeds success. And it's easy to do well if you've already done well, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, what an incentive if you're trying something and you're that successful that quickly. I imagine that was plenty momentum to really get into it then.
Yeah, I suppose even as well, my dad qualified for Europeans in his own time as well. So I suppose the idea of qualifying for big events isn't exactly alien to me. So I'm lucky and privileged from that point of view to have him as my dad to kind of egg me on and inspire me or whatever, and coach, obviously.
It's a very technical sport. It's a very exacting sport and psychologically fairly testing as well. What are the aspects of it you think that you enjoy most or that you're strongest at, the things that kind of give you motivation about it?
I think the aspect that I'm strongest at is just that I'm very good at just not giving up. I describe myself as a very stubborn person. And I think that, obviously race walking is a long distance sport, and the distance I've been competing in is 20 kilometres, which for a 22-year-old is a very long distance to be training for. But I find, I suppose in races, my strength is just the fact that I'm able to keep going. And I suppose with training as well, I find it can be very good to clear your head as well sometimes with race walking. Like it's a good excuse to go out for hours and hours and not have to worry about real world problems. Like, so it's a nice distraction from college life sometimes, and it's a good thing to clear the head, I find. So that's probably the biggest thing about it, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say even at kind of a club competition level, there's many people nodding their heads listening to that exact thing as well. It's almost meditative in how it gets you out of the real world, as you called it, or all of those kinds of things. So national championships would have been a big target on the calendar this year. That's done and dusted. From this point onwards, how are you going to handle sort of the last 5 months of the calendar year anyway?
The last 5 months, well, I suppose I'll be taking a break soon enough, a 2-week break, which most athletes would normally take, because it's nearly impossible to be training at a high intensity 52 weeks a year. So I'll take a couple of weeks off soon enough. I might do a couple of 3Ks, 5Ks in July, August. And then after that, it'll be sadly maybe not sadly, but back into winter training, which will be lots of mileage, lots of cold miles. But so the next big race for myself would be in Raheny in December at the end of this year. So that'll be the next focus, and trying to get qualified for World Champs in Tokyo next year. That'll be the big goal for next year.
Okay, and in terms of the distance then for that December race, then that's longer than the 10,000 that you did in Santry.
Yes, so 10,000 in Santry, it would have been 10,000 because it's obviously a track race.
Yeah.
And doing 20 kilometres on a track would be, number one, it'd take a lot of time out of the programme, and also be very tough mentally to do 50 laps around the track. So no, to 20k is the main distance, but when we're talking about track, they normally bring it down to 10k for those reasons. And obviously in Raheny, it'll be back to the 20 kilometres, back to the road, back to the real event, I would say.
And
the real grind.
Tell me this: the 50k race distance, like is that something on the horizon for you? Is that still something that I'm speaking off the top of my head here? But am I right in saying that that is it's a competition format for race walking as well?
Yeah, well, I suppose the 50k unfortunately has been removed since Tokyo Olympics was the last 50k event, unfortunately, which a lot of race walkers aren't very happy with actually. But it's been, in this Olympics, it's been replaced with a mixed marathon race walk relay, which is a bit controversial as well. But I think from Tokyo onwards, it'll be 35 kilometres instead of 50 kilometres. That'll be the longer walk. Now, obviously, when I was younger, I would have dreamed about doing 50k, as mad as it seems. I kind of like the insanity of the event. But I think, if obviously I'd hope that it does come back someday, but if it doesn't, then I'd imagine 35k will be my preferred distance going into the future. But that'll require a lot more miles of training and a lot more of a time commitment as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, look, the future looks pretty promising, and at your age, you can maybe hold out for the 50k to come back at some point down the line. But look, Oisin, a huge congratulations on the national title, and well done on your season, generally speaking. And thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us on health and fitness this evening.
No worries, Sean. Nice talking to you, David. Thank you.
After the break, we'll celebrate a monument to community spirit.
Health and fitness with the newly refurbished Midlands Park Health and Fitness Club. Refresh your fitness journey with dedicated personal trainers on hand to help you achieve your goals. Find out more at midlandsparkhotel.com. Midlands 103.
Ballinamere GAA this weekend will be opening their Sean Wyer Memorial Pitch, a brand new facility. An absolute mountain of work has gone on to deliver this crucial, vital and fantastic amenity to the local parish. I'm very glad to say that Club Secretary Carina Carroll joins us to talk about both the opening and the journey that's taken place. Carina, before we talk about the journey that it took to get to this point, it must be exciting from Ballinamere's perspective to be on the precipice of having this new pitch open.
Oh, hi, David. Yeah, definitely. Look, this Saturday is the pinnacle of everything that really has been worked on over the last, I suppose, 10 years. Corporate probably delayed it a little bit. But this Saturday is the culmination of work from maybe 5 or 6 different committees down through the years, underage helpers, coaches, volunteers, people who assisted from our sister club in Dora. So hopefully it will be a celebration and a nice day to finally say that the pitch, the grounds, the gym, the playground, the walking track and the outdoor gym is finally open.
As you list them there, we all know just how important these facilities are for communities, and when they're there, people obviously use them. And we'll talk about some of the benefits that we expect for the parish and also the fun of the weekend, hopefully, and the celebration. But talk to us about this journey. Like you said, 10 odd years, COVID interruptions, people working together for a very long time to deliver this. How did it all start?
Yeah, well, look, we're probably going back to, from an adult club point of view, to Ballinamere's victory in the intermediate championship. That was a historical victory after losing many finals to get finally over the line. That was 2013. So when they won the intermediate, they actually went on and won the junior Leinster and actually headed to Birmingham to play in an All-Ireland quarter-final, which they lost by a point. And I feel that journey brought the club together, brought the underage into the club. Michael Daigan and Pat Cleary and Stephen and myself were on an underage committee then. And that kind of linked the underage with the senior clubs. The children were seeing a great success in O'Connor Park. So that led on then to 2014. We had a massive presentation night because it was so historical. And I can't tell you how many finals they lost, but I think they could have lost between 10 and 12 semi-finals and finals in the intermediate down through the years. So it was an outbreak of passion and excitement then. I know that the Bridge House that night in February, it was actually February the 8th, I remember the date. There was 400 or 500 people. There was that many people at the dinner dance that they had to have video links in rooms outside. But everybody wanted to attend. From there then, the idea, as the underage was growing with the committee I've just mentioned, it's always been mentioned about having an additional pitch in Ballinamere. Unfortunately then Jack died on the 4th of April, just after that. And I remember actually Jack on that trip in Birmingham when we went for the All-Ireland quarter-final. I actually had Cocoa Pops with him in the restaurant on the morning of the match because everybody else was in bed, but myself and Jack were up. So he died tragically then on the 4th of April. And after that, the Wyer family who owned the land around the pitch up to the back of the present pitch gave us the chance to purchase the land. So from there, it took off. Obviously, we didn't start immediately. What we did immediately was we started the Sean Wyer Memorial Tournament, which is a hurling tournament for under 12. So that started with 4 teams, and now it's up to 14 teams. And each year, people from outside the county ask to join that tournament, but we keep it to an Offaly one. And after 10 years of running it, I'm delighted to say that Ballinamere Dora finally crossed the line and won it last year. So it was nearly a monkey off the back before we opened our pitch. So just after that, then the development committee came together. It was a mixture of people from our underage, from the present senior committee, and even some people who, from the Dora angle that were also coaching in the club, led by Tom Doyle. And this development committee worked so hard, met weekly, called off after an hour, as Tom liked to do every week. The main aim of that committee was to get the new pitch. How we felt we could raise the money was back then. I know it's been probably duplicated a couple of times by many organisations, but it's to get €1,000 per each family, which could be paid over 4 years. So the aim was to get 100 families across the underage and across the senior club to give us €1,000. We ended up at 193, which was just unbelievable. And then too, we also got their tax rebate as well. And then thanks to Vincent Malloy, who's the expert with the lotto grants and all the funding, we matched that and we ended up raising nearly over 500,000. So that led to the pitch. It led to a new stand sponsored by Castle Paints. It led to a playground. It led to the 900-metre walking track, which is now lighted, solar lighting, so anybody can go up and the lights will stay on for 20 minutes until after they're passed by until someone walks by the last lamp. A gym upstairs, which was led by Pat Cleary. We're lucky that the community centre actually had a concrete floor upstairs. So Pat headed that project up, and we have a lovely indoor gym. And then again, Vincent, with his help from Carmel Dunn in the community, they led to outdoor aerobic equipment. So now you can actually do your 900-metre walk. We nearly call it panoramic because you go around the hill kind of at the back of the stand. and finish off with your aerobics. So really it's a hub of the community. Even down there last night, it's just busy, and it's great to have these pitches busy.
It's a remarkable journey. It strikes me as you tell me about the story that what is required for something like this, apart from an absolute truckload of determination and kind of spirit in that respect, is cooperation. And you must have learned so much about the people that you were working with, and therefore grown probably quite close to the people in and around the club, even above and beyond what it was like beforehand.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. No doubt about that at all. That development committee met once a week, as I said. And the bond that took place, I was the only female on the committee, but the bond that took place between everybody, and you just had to come back with your work done. I always do say it's not nice asking anybody for money. And when you go down the route of looking for €1,000, you have to approach people for their bank details and then their PPS number for the tax, and it's not nice, and these people have to trust you. And there is a sense in GAA clubs all over the country that the hand was always out, and we didn't want that either. So we tried to say, look, if we get in this, we'll get a pitch, and for the grown underage, your children will get to use it. And then it's nice for the adults then, when they do come down to the pitch, the parents then are walking the track, even a couple are joining the gym and using the outdoor aerobics. But the band on the committee was excellent. Everybody did their job, really. And when everyone does their job, I think it was an 11-person committee. It worked out very, very well.
And it must be extra special for the community, knowing just how much, individual families have invested in this. It's going to mean so much to those who, as you said, put their money on the line to try get this project over the line.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And we actually have a patrons wall in the community centre, which is a great read because, as I said, there's 193 families. I was only reading it there on Monday evening. And unfortunately, some people have passed away that gave the €1,000, but their names are there and they'll be embellished forever. And there is a plan to have an outdoor wall to also honour all these people who've donated to the pitch, because it's as much theirs as it is the executive committee of Ballinamere. It's as much an under 6 parents pitch to use as it is a senior hurlers player, and that's what we want.
And it's there now going forward to be a monument to the community's welfare and their health, which is just an outstanding achievement and worthy of celebrating. That celebration is taking place this weekend, Saturday, July 6th. And quite rightly, to open up the Sean Wyer Memorial Pitch, there's going to be some competitive action on the pitch as well.
Yeah, well, look, we're trying to embrace from an underage right up to adults. So probably around 2010, maybe 11, 12, we set up a ladies' underage club under the guidance of John Lydon, and he worked with Dolores Ravenhill and Caroline O'Brien and Gay McNally, and also with poor Cameron Dre, who also passed away. They worked on an underage ladies' club, which came in with the underage boys, which worked under a fantastic umbrella for a number of years until the girls became senior. So all them families got involved back then. Aidan Doyle then took over the ladies' club, and it continued to run jointly with the boys. So it meant that every boy and every girl was kind of treated the same in our underage structure. And then only in the last 2 years, Anthony Kearns and Aoisin Lane as secretary have started the underage Camogie Club, which adds another 100 girls to the system. So really then you have every family involved. We start with maybe 130 children back in 2013, and now there's 501. So they're all getting benefit of it. The kids from 13 to 17 all use the gym. We're very lucky that over in Durrow too, which is our sister club, and the underage train and play there as well, that they have their Astro pitch, which we use in the winter. And they also have their new gym as well. And their pitch is also full every night of the week with the underage program. So we're very lucky to have all them people, and I think when you work as one with boys and girls, families see that and they feed into it, and they always feel a part of it. So to answer your question, so the Camogie will open at 4:00. The Camogie and the 14 girls entered their championship for the first time this year, and they've reached the final. So they'll be playing St. Killian's, and we thank St. Killian's for going on a neutral venue to come and play in Ballinamere to open the pitch. So that will be nice for their families and friends. Following that, then the pitch opening is at 5:30. Father Joe Gallagher will bless the pitch, followed by the official opening with Michael Digan. who was chairperson of our underage when poor Jack passed away, and was behind a lot of the success that we've had in the underage over the last number of years. So Michael will open the pitch with Joe Wyer, who's actually Jack's granddad. Then around 6 o'clock, our senior hurlers will take to the pitch. Our score group, which have done very well this year, they won Leinster titles. Kieran Reynolds heads them up. They will sing the national anthem, led by Ballinamere seniors versus Turlough of Galway, apologies. So then at half time, we're lucky enough to have the Offaly under 20 Leinster and All Ireland winning cups, and the Joe McDonagh, and also our junior championship winning cup. So they'll be introduced to the crowd at half time, as well as our Jack Wyer team for this year, our 2024 panel. Derek, each year since poor Jack passed away, Derek is Jack's dad, has given a set of jerseys to every player that plays. A set of jersey, and each player keeps their jersey at the end of that year. So essentially, we've given 20, 30 jerseys with Jack Wyer Memorial out each year since poor Jack passed away. So Derek would present them jerseys to that team at half time, then followed on the second half of the match. And lastly, then our junior hurling championship winners will be presented with their medals just after the game by Michael Daigan and Joe Wyer. And then it's head into a great night in Extra Hills for our score group. We'll also entertain again, and our score ballad group and our score set dancing group. So hopefully it'll be a long, entertaining day, really, which spans from 4 p.m. to the early hours in the morning. Let's just say that.
You must be kind of in pinch yourself territory that this is all finally done and dusted.
Oh, definitely. Look, there's no point denying it. It is an awful lot of work. Promoting it, ensuring it's right. We had an events management meeting last night, which I think we've over 50 volunteers ready to go. We'll be having parking rides from Ballinamere National Schools. We want to make sure everything is safe. All them people have come on board, not one problem, all ready to help out. There's additional sponsors on the day, so Malloy would be the Malloy Precast or the club sponsors, but Derek Wyer's company where he works, Kilmurray Sand and Gravel, have offered to be sponsors for the full day, and then additional sponsors from Edgewater Medical and Make Water. So everybody's chipping in, and they know how important a day it is. And you can see by the kids are excited, especially them Camogie girls. This is a big stage for them, and they were so excited down there last night at training.
A final word then, Carina. It is to be the Jack Wyer Memorial Pitch, probably a very fitting dedication. What do you think it would mean to Jack if he was able to see and to know that the pitch would be named after himself, considering the relationship he had with the club, the parish, the community?
Oh yes, look, Jack would have turned 21 last week, and daily I can only imagine what Derek and Ramona and Ruth and the Wyer and Lamb families go through each day and each week. And he's the kind of child I see. It's our senior hurlers down training, and any of them that have sons, their sons are popping around, they're always at the pitch, they're always playing around, they're there every day of the week. And that was Jack. Jack was always down at the pitch when Derek was playing or his cousins were playing, and he was always there. As I said, like, he was in the dressing room after they won the intermediate. He was in the dressing room. We have a lovely picture when Eddie Brennan spoke to the junior hurling team after we left Kilkenny champions in that junior Leinster. He was in Birmingham. He was at that dinner dance, so he was a focal point. He was an exceptional hurler and a footballer, and he was going to be very strong at both. His team that he actually played on, they reached a minor A hurling final and a minor A football semi-final. And they honoured him on the days of them matches, and they retired his jersey number 14. So I think he would be happy. I know all this work, and I know that the Jack Wyer tournament especially, Derek loves it, and I know it keeps them strong. And all we can do as a committee is just keep to remember Jack for Derek and for Ruth and for Mona, and to keep his memory alive, really, and naming a pitch after someone. Sure, what better can you get?
No, exactly that. It'll stand testament to his love of the game, and I think really what comes through here is the community's love of the game and their ability to support each other. Carina, congratulations on reaching this point. The very best of luck with the weekend, both with the celebrations and of course the weather, and thanks for talking to us on Health and Fitness this evening.
No bother, thanks David.
The Wheelchair Hurling League is coming to Kilbeggan, and they want you to consider playing.
Health and Fitness with the newly refurbished Midlands Park Health and Fitness Club. Take the plunge in a new routine with our swimming pool, plunge pool, jacuzzi, sauna and steam room. For more, visit midlandsparkhotel.com.
Midlands 103.
Now, the latest round of provincial wheelchair hurling is taking place in the Midlands this month. It's on in Kilbeggan on the 27th of July in the new school there. I'm very glad to say that a wheelchair hurling all-star winner, Rose Nallis's Sean Bennett, joins us to look forward to the event. Sean, thanks for very much for joining us again on Health and Fitness this evening. And I imagine when this time of year rolls round, everyone's looking forward to this event when they're taking part.
Absolutely. We look so forward to meeting the people and the banter we do have from all the provinces. It's just a joy to be involved. It really is.
So as I said there, it's on at the end of the month, the 27th of July. Anyone sitting at home listening who maybe ever considered getting involved in wheelchair sports at all, you guys would welcome them with open arms.
Absolutely, David. And we're trying to promote actually all wheelchair events because there's so much out there now towards when I had my accident in 1993, 30 years ago. There was very little for anybody, but now there's everything going on. There's wheelchair basketball, there's hockey, there's just so much rugby. There's everything going on, and I find the wheelchair hurling it ticks the boxes for me because I'm getting on in years, and I don't have too much to do. Just stick me in the goals, and I just get in the way and that kind of stuff, and block and hook. And, it's not rocket science, right? It's just so enjoyable.
No, and especially if anyone enjoyed maybe being part of a competitive experience and just competing generally, and maybe they've had a life-changing moment and they find themselves in a wheelchair now, this is a great outlet for something like that. Yes,
David, I was that soldier because I was sitting at home with feck all to do, and I just got into wheelchair hurling, and it ticks the boxes for me. And I know there's people out there. It's just a matter of getting the word out there that this is going on. And I know whenever they come to have a look and get involved, they'll love it. They absolutely love it.
Okay, let's have a look at how the competition works at the moment. You've got the Leinster leg in Kilbeggan. What follows on from that?
Well, we actually had our first round up in Omagh, where the four provinces met, and we had a fairly good result for it. We were only a kind of a beginning team. Some of the guys pulled out and went on to bigger and better things. There's a chap representing Ireland in basketball, Connor, and he's just a chap, and he's just so joyful to watch playing. And then we went to Munster, Mary Immaculate College, only last Saturday, and we had a fairly good competition down there. And the next one then is after Tullamore is in Roscommon, where we meet the other three provinces up there, and we have that's the league on the league basis, and then we have the All-Ireland series on in possibly late August, early September in IT in Carlow.
Good stuff.
So it's only 4 or 5 events, it's not a huge commitment for anybody, really.
I imagine as well, if someone gets involved and they're a novice, you probably see a really interesting trajectory of development if they stick with it throughout the year. By the end of it, they probably have picked up a few tricks and a few notions on how to play the game best.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And the guys that are involved are so understanding of all abilities and disabilities. Nobody's turned away. No matter what age you are, there's room for you in the wheelchair hurling. Because I'm the wrong side of 60 now, and I'm just every time I hung up the boots.
Well, I think it's always good to be able to talk about a sport where being on either side of 60 isn't the wrong side, because as you said there, you're well able to keep goal in this sport. And if someone wanted to get involved, say for instance in the event in Kilbeggan, which is on the 27th of July, they could actually dip their toes at maybe one of the training sessions that you guys attend beforehand.
Absolutely, David. That's what we're trying to do. And we're in Mullingar now tomorrow night from 7 to 9, and we're there for the next couple of weeks, 7 to 9 in the community school in Mullingar. And it's just like you toe tipping and see how you get on. And when I started first, I said, well, I can only improve. I can't get any worse. And that's how it was. I just couldn't get any worse. Because my wheelchair skills would have been very limited towards somebody that's paralysed from the waist down. They would be used to wheelchair use. I'm an amputee, so I wouldn't have been using the wheelchair all that much.
So would you have become more confident in the chair based on playing the sport when you're not involved in the sport?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's guys in that absolutely run rings around you in wheelchairs. Until you see it being played, David, you realise the amount of skill and the amount of energy that's burnt off. The boys will come off and they'll be in a lather of sweat, just pushing this chair around and trying to catch the guy that's in front of them or something. And
it's something then obviously you personally look forward to every year. And if people wanted to get involved, then what way do you think is best to get in touch if they wanted to go to Mount Mellick or indeed attend in Kilbeggan at the end of the month?
Well, sure, David, I'm sure you have my details. If anyone rings in looking, you can pass them on and I'll certainly talk to them and encourage them. And I'm all for encouraging them and promoting because I know this is just something that they love. They will love it.
Well, in that instance, if anyone listening is interested in getting involved, 083 30 10 103 for the Midlands 103 phone line, or indeed you can email sport@midlands103.com. And as Sean said there, I'll be able to direct you to the relevant people to head to training in Mount Mellick, or indeed to the event in Kilbeggan towards the end of the month, or indeed drop a line at any point, because I know Sean and the rest of the people involved would be happy to make contact at any point throughout the year. Sean, you've been great with your time. I much appreciate it. We'll stay in touch over the course of the summer and see how the next couple of events are going for everyone involved. For the moment, though, thanks for joining us once again on Health and Fitness.
And just to say, David, thank you so much for getting in touch with me, because it's like if you didn't promote this sport more than I will, you were out there on the airwaves and you'll be seeing people that are in situations where it's only when you realise this is on and it's available to people, you'll say, oh, that could be for him, that could be for her. Male or female, it doesn't make any difference. We have a couple of girls with us last year and they were absolutely fabulous. Now, one girl had to go up to college, but other than that, the other girl is still with us. And just to say again, David, thank you very much for your time.
No, not at all, Sean. Look, the reality is I think we agree on one central point, is that sport should be for everybody, and it's important that we do manage to platform sport for everyone in that instance. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks again to Sean Bennett for joining us on the programme. What's up next? You'll hear about how you can support Offaly GAA.
Health and Fitness with the all-new Midlands Park Health and Fitness Club, with fitness classes to suit everyone. Experience the warmth at 30 degrees in our dedicated spin studio. Discover all this and more on midlandsparkhotel.com.
Midlands 103.
The annual Offaly Association Golf Classic is taking place this year at the Palmerstown House Estate in Naas. It's on the 5th and the 6th of September, and it's all raising funds for a particularly good cause, and that is for the growth and development of Gaelic games in Offaly. I'm very glad to say that the chair of the association, Fintan Lawler, joins us on Health and Fitness this evening. Fintan, thanks so much for taking our call.
Good morning, David.
The Golf Classic is in aid of Offaly GAA. We'll get onto that shortly, but let's talk about the day itself. If anyone was to look for a place here, what kind of day could they be expecting?
Well, it's on the 5th and 6th of September, as you mentioned. And basically, what we've done, David, is we've set up two email addresses, teams@offaryassociation.ie, teams@offaryassociationdublin.ie for anybody who wants to enter a team. And then for anyone who wants to sponsor a tee box, it's teeboxes@offaryassociationdublin.ie. We have so far got quite a good response. The venue is Palmerstown House, as you mentioned, and the tea times are open from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon on both the Thursday and Friday. The available slots at the moment, are mostly on the Thursday, so anybody interested in getting in should just contact either of those two email addresses and we'll get in touch to give them the information.
Okay, so those are the details for anybody who is looking to get involved. What about the fundraising side of things? It's going towards helping grow the Gaelic games across the county of Offaly. What kinds of things where does the money ultimately end up? If people are getting involved and they want to know where their money is going in this regard, what kind of things are they going towards?
Yeah. Well, it's the fourth year, David. We've had 3 of these classics so far, and we've already raised €80,000, which basically what happens is all the proceeds go to, as you said, the promotion of Gaelic games in Offaly. All the proceeds go to the Offaly County Board, and they use them then obviously for that purpose. The cost of a team is $500 for a team of 4. It's a format scramble, and a tee box will cost €100. Okay. Now, for the 500, you'll obviously get to pay a top class championship course, excellent meal, and we have prizes to the value of €8,000. Okay, so if you're good enough, you'll get in for that.
That's not bad at all. And I suppose it's a particularly good year to be running this classic, considering the incredible success the Offaly under-20 hurlers achieved, and then obviously followed up with that with the seniors winning the Joe McDonagh Cup.
Absolutely. And a number of us on the committee, when we decided to do this a few years ago, we weren't actually looking at that level of success at all. Quite the opposite, actually. Our teams were in the doldrums, but thanks to an awful lot of good work under Michael Duignan's leadership, and there are wonderful green shoots now. I mean, I was in Kilkenny at the under-20 final, and the spectacle on the pitch afterwards was wonderful for Offaly people, and a great occasion. But I suppose the challenge now is to, the minors too in the last few years, the seniors with the Joe McDonagh Cup. But the challenge now is to repeat that and keep it going. And we see this as a great chance now to give something back. And it's a good time to be involved because, as I said, lots of us remember the bad old days. And this is a chance maybe now to build something.
And as you say there, like the difficult times that Offaly GAA have had are in the recent past, and whilst success and achievement are great to see now, it'll take continuous investment and support from everyone around the county through events like this to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, and if you look, David, at the the counties that are enjoying sort of repeat success, the Limerick, I suppose, or the bench model at the moment, Dublin likewise in the football, they're continuously through academies and the underage bringing forward players that will make their way into the senior teams, and it's through all that kind of hard work and that you do achieve this kind of success. But there are enormous costs go with that. I mean, looking after teams, coaching, all the costs of a county board, I mean, team expenses, etc., not to mention upgraded facilities and so on. That's all enormous expense. And a county like Offaly doesn't really have access to the same resources as some of the counties I mentioned there. So, it needs sort of all hands on deck. And all we're trying to do in Dublin here in our association is to complement the hard work of all the volunteers and so on in Offaly and the county board in what they're trying to achieve.
To move it on from the event just briefly, let's look at golf more broadly across the county. How do you feel the game of golf is progressing in Offaly? Obviously, we've got our big flagship name in Shane Lowry, and he is nothing if not consistently competing at the top of the world game. But beyond that, what sense do you have of potential talent coming from the county in future years?
Well, while I wouldn't be hugely familiar with it maybe on the ground in Offaly, I'm in Dublin for the last 40 years, but obviously the flagship is Shane Lowry, and I know there are other up-and-coming, very talented prospects coming through. I suppose overall, Golf Ireland have concerns about the challenges for the game of golf in terms of membership of golf clubs, the length of time it takes to play around the golf, and it's something they're trying to develop and encourage. But that said, thanks to Shane Lowry, Rory McIlroy, Graham McDowell, all these fellas, Pádraig Harrington, the profile of golf in Ireland, I think, is very high, and that would apply, I think, also to Offaly, you know.
So, just casting forward, the challenge for the sport is to maintain and continue a connection with that younger generation who have grown up in the age of information and with online content and so on. Do you feel like the game of golf might have to change, or maybe the way they communicate might have to change, or indeed you think they're in a good spot as things stand?
I think they see themselves, I mean, that there is a need for change, but golf it's very well established. I mean, the game of golf is around a long, long time. The challenges, I think, which they acknowledge themselves are to get more membership in, obviously to see if they can improve the playing time and the pace of play and all these things in the game of golf itself. But I think, like most sports, David, you know, there's an element of lots of young people play sport, and then I think clubs and things in the GAA as well, you know, they get to sort of the early teens, and there's a bit of a fall off there. And then you have the challenges of whether it's work commitments later on, or whether it's college or whatever. But I think GAA is enjoying quite a boom time at the moment, thanks to some very high-profile games and maybe an awful lot of coverage of Gaelic games. But golf, I think, probably has its own challenges as well. I know they're looking at it, but I'm not involved in Golf Ireland. But I know through my own club that it's constantly under review.
Yeah, like every sport, they're looking at a very vastly and quickly changing landscape. But as you said, golf has had a very long-lasting appeal to a very large constituency, and it would be surprising to see it ultimately suffer in that regard. We were talking this evening, Fintan, about this golf classic. It takes place on the 5th and 6th of September. Remind us again how people can get in touch if they want to get involved.
Well, basically, if you want to sponsor a team, you contact teams at Offaly Association Dublin.ie. If you want to sponsor a tee box, it's teeboxes at offaryassociation.ie.
Another health and fitness done and dusted. Remember, if you have a story you want featured on the show, email sport@midlands103.com. Joe Cooney is next with Country Roads after the news at 8, and I, as ever, will talk to you soon.